Appreciate it, my guy.
Thanks for having me, my brother.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for hopping on, man. This is big time. This means a lot to me because of our relationship. Obviously, you and I go way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that first day that I met you in Morgantown, my freshman year. And believe it or not, you might not think so at the time, but you were big time to me because I watched you and you played early on and had a huge impact. So I was lucky and fortunate to be a teammate of yours, be with you day in and day out, and then eventually get to play with you. So this call means a lot, man. I really appreciate you hopping on with me today.
No problem, brother. Hey, I appreciate you, man. And I'm sad you beat me my last couple of years, but you had to go. You had to go, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did for you, brother.
Yeah, well, everything happens for a reason. But again, I'm lucky to have you guys in Morgantown. You guys were my boys, and you still are. And that's why, these calls, it's the brotherhood that we have, and you're coming back to talk to me, and that's fantastic. Obviously, I've told you a little bit about our foundation, what we are, what we're all about, our model, our value, and kind of help these kids. These kids look up to guys like you, right? Mm-hmm. Guys that have played at a high level, both collegiately and the NFL and the CFL. You had a great run. But we got to go back to where it all started, right? And that's your youth days, right? Entering into high school, you're playing in elementary school. But when did you really understand that football was the ticket for you? Meaning like, man, I really love this game. I think I want to play at that next level, right? When did that hit you?
Yeah, so I was Pop Warner. Pop Warner for me was I played when I was 7 years old, had no idea what I was doing. Scotty, I'm out there rubbing dirt on me just to show mom I got dirty.
That's right.
But then a little bit older, I was about 13, 14 years old. And I think I was in eighth grade, and I think I was in seventh grade. So I wasn't 14. I was in seventh grade, and I got into football with St. Pete's and Coach Mebbs, man. God rest his soul, was a guy that part of my story, but he coached me, and he saw something in me, man, that would just like a lot of your guys, he would come pick me up from my house, to take me to practice because we didn't have, man, and he would come and pick us up to make sure that we was there. And once I realized I had it, man, when there was a play that we ran, I jumped over a guy in the middle of the field, and I ran for like a 40-yard touchdown and hit the Heisman pose. And I was like, I might be pretty good. At that moment, I was like, this might be my ticket out the hood. I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey.
Yes.
At the time, Camden, New Jersey was one of the most dangerous cities in America. But to me, it was just Tuesday because, it's just where I'm from.
Yeah.
And, just having the opportunity to kind of, I was an angry young man. I mean, and you caught me in some of those. I wasn't reformed at that time. I was an angry man. Everything was violence to me. Football was my outlet, Scotty. I was able to, this is why I love football, because I'm short in stature. I'm a running back. I'm 5'8", but I felt like I was 6'5".
That's right.
You know what I mean? So for me, anytime I get to hit somebody, it just gave me a little bit of reprieve. And I played football because I was one of the reasons why I played was I get to hit people, and I didn't get in trouble by it. So
right.
For me, the anger that I had stored up in me because of the way I grew up, it was a great outlet for me. And St. Pete's is where I realized that this might be a way that I don't have to go to the corners and sell drugs and be like my uncles.
That's right. I think your size was to your advantage too, Avon, right? You play with a little bit of chip on your shoulder.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that worked to your advantage because damn, you ran hard and you brought the wood too. And it was fun to watch and fun to play with. Talk about New Jersey, go all the way back, right? Now you're getting ready to go into high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are high schools coming to you now? Do you know where you're going to high school in your eighth grade? Is it like, hey, I'm going to the neighborhood high school? Or is it like, man, I might need to take a look at some different schools if I want to get to that even third level, right?
No, man. For me, I was under the impression of it didn't matter, and like where they are right now, we're going to camps and doing all that. We didn't necessarily, at least I didn't. I didn't have the luxury of being able to go do those things. Right. So in my mind, I'm like, if I'm good, they're gonna find me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was actually living in Cherry Hill, which is a suburb of Camden. So Camden is the hood. We moved out of the hood, moved into Cherry Hill. But short story shorter, we got kicked out of the house we were living in. So I was actually living in a shelter in Camden. So I was living in a homeless shelter in Camden my freshman year. And I was going to school in Cherry Hill. So yeah, I knew where I was going. And I ended up, that's where my story kind of gets good, I guess. I mean, it's always been good, but it gets, this is where the helping hand, this is where God shows up in my life. I mean, he's always been there, but this is one of the ways where God showed up in my life, where he put people in place to allow me to take the next step. So yeah. I'm in Cherry Hill. The next step was I'm in playing Pop Warner, and then there's no middle school and there's no middle school football in New Jersey. So it was all Pop Warner up to freshman. So freshman year I go to Cherry Hill West, and I played 2 games Cherry Hill West as a freshman, and then I moved up to varsity as a freshman. So I played early. During the season, I moved up to running back as a freshman. But this is where adversity shows up again. And like I know it's always there. We just forget about it sometimes. Yeah. But I was living in a homeless shelter. Cherry Hill West found out that I was living in a homeless shelter in Camden, which is, Cherry Hill West is a really good school, really good neighborhoods, that type of thing. But we had to move back to the hood, and we were taking a bus. Me and my sister, we would take a bus 6:30 in the morning to get dropped off at the bus stop to get picked up by the bus to go to school. Yeah. And I mean, not very many people, nobody knew this, you know what I mean? No. But at the time when I was as I was going, they found out, and they were like, look, you can't go to school here no more because of, we know you're not in the district. We know you don't live in that house. Sure. So then I'm like, so what am I going to do? I mean, and again, I grew up in Camden. I always wanted to go to Woodrow Wilson. So that was kind of the school I wanted to go to. But, I was already entrenched and playing in Cherry Hill West. So I'm like, I know they're not going to give me a shot, coming from another school, and they already, we're in season. So right. That's when Coach Mebbs, I was playing, his son was a safety. He wasn't playing very much, but he was a quarterback, but he was a safety. And you might have met Eddie a couple times. But Coach Mebbs, he asked his wife, and mind you, I was doing reckless stuff. I mean, weekends when the game was over, I'm going to the hood. We doing reckless stuff. Mm-hmm. So, they don't know this stuff. And I told him afterwards, but he was like, he talked to his wife, and he said, hey, you can move in with us. I'll be your guardian. And I mean, this is a man that coached me one year, really didn't know very much about me.
Took a chance on you.
He saw something in me. And I think about this. Yeah. I got a baby girl. I mean, because he did it, that is really the only reason why I would even consider doing it. Bringing a kid around my daughter that will, I just don't see that. I don't see how he did it. I mean, that's just God just showing up in my life, because he had 2 daughters, one older, one younger. And he's like, I'm going to take a chance on you. I mean, I see you trying to do right. And he let me move in, man. And then from there, that's when, I had a pretty good year. Wasn't great. I had a pretty good year. From there, Eddie, well, this is kind of when you asked the question, what was I looking for schools? That really wasn't an option for me.
Didn't have a choice, right?
After the first year, Coach Mebbs' son, Eddie, wasn't playing. So he was like, I'm looking for options because, I want to see where my son can go and play. So that's when he runs into a coach at Holy Cross. I mean, in J.C. Penney's, I don't know what they were doing, but, he came home excited. Was like, Eddie, hey, I ran into this coach, at Holy Cross. They're supposed to be a really, really good school. I've heard about them before. And me, I'm starting already. So I'm like, I hear y'all. Y'all go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? Right. And so we he's like, okay, Avon, why don't you come up and throw and I'll throw some passes. You run some routes for me. Because at the time, I was a receiver, running. I was doing whatever I needed.
You did it all.
Yeah, I was in high school. You do everything on offense they asked you to do. So I was doing everything on offense, and he was like, "Won't you come run some routes for me?" And I'll throw the ball. So I once I go there, in my mind, I'm like, nah. He's like, "Coach, we come back," and they're like, Eddie's definitely coming. It's an opportunity for him. He can compete for a quarterback spot. And they actually had a running back there that was starting, and I'm like, okay, am I gonna get opportunities to compete? And he was like, no, we actually have a guy. I'm like, okay. I'm staying at Cherry Hill West. Like I'm good. Like I'm starting right now. I'm the guy. I ain't got to worry about nothing. So, we get closer to the end of the year, or the beginning of the school year, and they're like, Avon, you need to think about this. And it was really Holy Cross putting pressure on them, telling them, hey, if Eddie comes, we want this guy too. Yeah. And what I found out, 20 years later, was my coach was like, the quarterback was good, but that guy's gonna play on Sundays. You know what I mean? So I didn't know that at the time. They would never tell you that, but that was kind of, they put pressure on, I guess, on them, like, hey, if he comes, he has to come. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm not gonna be starting, but they was like, it's gonna be a great opportunity for you. This school, puts so many different people in the D1. For sure. So that's when, that next year I ended up going to Holy Cross. So from Holy Cross to WVU, you know what I mean? There was some trials in that. But that's kind of my high school, how I kind of got to where I was at in high school.
Yeah, I mean, and that's wild. I usually ask, give me some adversity that you went through in high school. That's enough right there. But talk about how you managed schoolwork for our guys, right? Like, how did you manage schoolwork during all of that? Living in a homeless shelter, living with a caregiver, living in a different house, going to different schools. How were you able to focus on academics? I mean, that had to have been hard for you.
You know what, man? We all find our difficulties in different things. For me, my end goal was getting to college. So it was just part of doing it. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem at all because I knew what I wanted. My mom didn't have to tell me, go do your homework. It didn't have to be said because I knew what my end goal was. And I knew where I lacked too. I'm like, taking them big tests, I never did well in them. So I know they were like, well, because that was when the time when they just started changing the SAT scores. Like, if your GPA is this high, you can have a lower SAT score. Yeah. So I'm like, that's when they did that. That's when I started understanding, okay, I need to keep my GPA up. So I said that was it. That was where we were going. Like, I'm like, I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I was going to college, not wanting to go. I knew I was going to college. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know I was going to play ball, but I knew I was going to college. Right. And I just knew, okay, in order for me to get there, I got to pass this test and I got to get some pretty good stuff on this test. And I said, okay, well, I know I don't do well on tests, but those big tests, but schoolwork, I mean, it was just part of the plan for me. I was so focused that I didn't need motivation for that.
Yeah.
I just
that's
did
great.
it.
That's great. A lot of people do. And some people don't. And you were just one of those guys that didn't need that motivation because you had that end goal.
Right.
And then let's talk about getting closer to that end goal. What was the recruiting process like, right? Like, nowadays, all these kids are talking about the offers that they have. Those were letters back in our day, right?
Right.
We all had shoe boxes of letters, right?
Absolutely.
We had shoe boxes and shoe boxes, but the ones that had the handwriting on them, you knew that they were a little bit different, right, than the ones that were typed out. But talk about the recruiting process for you, right? Was it slow? Was it fast? Did you have coaches coming into your office every day, or was it like, man, I hope I get an opportunity? Talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, man. So you said some adversity. You kind of skipped over it. I mean, that wasn't even adversity for me. Adversity was my senior year in high school. I tore my ACL, and my junior year, I lit it up. I led South. Cooper Rigo was a running back that actually played with us. He led the state in touchdowns. I was number 2 in state in touchdowns my junior year. I had 1,400 yards. I mean, I played in two fourth quarters my entire junior year. So I mean, we were beating teams 50-30. You know what I mean? We were a good team. So
wait a
I didn't
second.
play.
You didn't play with Coop? You were on the
No,
same team as Coop. You
well,
played
he was in
against
New
him.
Jersey. He
Yeah,
played
yeah,
in New
yeah, yeah,
Jersey.
yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, so he was in the same, like I was number 2 in touchdowns. He was number 1. And
Got it.
I'm like, well, who is this guy? So I said, okay, the next year I'm like, because I mean, my thing was I didn't care about anybody else. That wasn't my thing, wasn't focus on what everybody else was doing.
Right.
I'm like, they
Right.
gotta chase what I'm doing. And once I saw somebody was close, I'm like, I know I gotta turn it up a little bit more. So going into my senior year, I mean, I had shoe boxes from letters from everybody. I mean, it was all over. So I specifically told my coach, I said, look, I want to go to Florida schools. That is really the only, that's where I wanted to go, somewhere in Florida where it was hot. I didn't want to go anywhere cold. I'm like, I don't like being cold at all.
I'm done with the cold, right?
Yeah. So I got a letter back from them, a handwritten letter said, Avon, you're good, but you're a dime a dozen down here. Unless you're the number 1 guy in the country, we're gonna find somebody down here that does that. But along those lines, man, I had Notre Dame, I had Tennessee, I had pretty much everybody but Florida schools was sending me letters and recruiting me. And then I tore my ACL. Notre Dame dropped out. Tennessee dropped out. And I mean, this is all a blessing too, bro, because think about it. So Coop was going to Notre Dame. He had already went to Notre Dame. He was number 1 player in New Jersey the year he came out. Probably one of the best players in the country. So I'm competing with him. And I was trying to avoid that. And then, I told my ACL, they took it, and it was like, okay, cool. And
wait, did you tear your ACL your junior year or going into your senior year?
In my senior, but second game of my senior year.
Oh, in your senior year. Wow.
Yeah. Second game of my senior year, I tore my ACL. And pretty much everybody dropped out, except Maryland, Minnesota, Pitt, West Virginia, and so Maryland, Minnesota, and Syracuse. So I had 5 offers that was still recruiting me with a torn ACL. And at that time, my confidence was shot, man. I didn't. Yeah. I'm like, just let me get on the team. Let me get an education. You know what I mean? That's when it awakened to me that this thing could be taken away from you at any moment. Wow. Was I tore my ACL, and it was like, and I'm surprised you couldn't tell by how hungry I was when I was out there. When I had the opportunity to play, I was just so hungry because I knew it could be taken from you at any moment.
Anytime.
So I mean, everybody was recruiting me, man. And then it ultimately came down to West Virginia and West Virginia, Syracuse, and Pitt. Those were the 3. I wasn't going to Minnesota because it was super cold there. Yeah. Syracuse, they were kind of ruled out because it was cold up there. And Maryland, they were recruiting me, but at the same time, I didn't know how good they were. West Virginia, on the other hand, my high school coach coached at West Virginia. There was 4 guys already from my high school at West Virginia. So for me, and then Ken Sandor, I don't know if you remember him, but
yeah, I remember Ken. Yeah,
he actually came. We came together. We were a package deal. So I think he was the guy. Like, hey, if this guy comes, we'll take Avon as well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the guy that was the, hey, take this guy too, because he's pretty good and he's a good kid. Yeah. So ultimately, there was really no recruiting. I didn't go visit anybody else. Once they said, hey, we want you, and I went down there my junior year a couple of times, met Amos Zaraway, who was kind of the guy, and jokingly but seriously as I could be, not thinking I was going to go there, but I told him I'm gonna break all your records. When I come, just being a young dumb kid, not knowing anything. Told him I was break all his records. Yeah. And at that time, I didn't know anything. But then once I got there, he was there. I had this big knee brace on, and that was it, man. That was my recruiting was short and sweet. It was. I wish I would have took visits, but in my mind, I didn't think I have the pull to do that because of I got an ACL tear, and I'm like, just take me, I want to go. And the biggest thing for me was I wanted to go where people wanted me. You know what I mean? Where I wanted more of a family atmosphere than more of a business atmosphere. I wanted some sort of family where I can surround myself, because my confidence was a little shot, man. I didn't know if I was coming or going. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get in.
So you hit on something real important there. You said I wanted to go where I was wanted, right? Mm-hmm. Talk about to our guys how important that is. Go somewhere where you're wanted and where you're going to play. Don't chase a logo. Don't chase a brand. Don't chase a school. Make sure you go somewhere that you feel loved, you feel wanted. I think that's really important.
That's super important, because in this day and age, people don't find what we found in college, like that atmosphere, because they go for one, they leave in the next year. You don't find that atmosphere to where, hey, I want you, I'm gonna take care of you, I'm gonna develop you. If you don't hear that, you don't even consider it, because you're just a number. You know what I mean? You want to go where they're gonna develop you. You're gonna go where you feel like there's an opportunity for you to play. And now the skill level is so much more than where, these guys are so developed by the time they get there. Sure. So a lot of them are ready to play day one. Obviously I wasn't, but for me, I had to go where I felt like it was going to be, people would take care of me. And again, I'm different in a lot of situations because I had a torn ACL. Yeah. And I was looking for that family that, hey, and to be honest with you, I didn't think I was ever going to play. I was number 8 I wasn't even on the depth chart. I had a big knee brace. I was just out there and we talked, like, I guess before, about stars. We didn't even have stars when I came out.
They didn't exist.
There was no stars. It was I think I was a 3, so maybe a 3-star. I was a 3 rating. I can't think of what they called it back then, but I was like a 3 rating. And when we came in, I might have been the highest rating person that we had with a torn ACL, which I don't believe I was, because we had, Antonio Brown De La, who was, run the 4.1 and jumping out the gym. But yeah, man, as far as recruiting, man, you have to. It can't just be about $1, because if it's about $1, you're not gonna find. You're always gonna be chasing that money. It's different. I'm talking about these guys now. You guys are getting NIL deals in high school. Yeah. Like it has to be more than money. Like you can't let money dictate where you're gonna be, because it could be gone like that. And it's so business now. If you're not good, you're gone. Right. They're gonna get that money from you.
I just feel like if you go somewhere where you're loved and you want to be, the money will come. The money will follow you, right? Absolutely. You do what you love, the money will find you.
100%. Right? You got to do what you love. It's got to be more than money that's gonna. My thing to my boys now is grab your goal and let your goal pull you. Like what do you want to do? Like my son's running track now. I'm like, he saw that when I ran track as a freshman, I ran 11.2. He's running like 12s. And I'm like, buddy, 11.2. What do you need to do to get that 11.2? Let that pull you. Everything else is going to take care of itself. But the process of getting to that is what you need to focus on.
Yeah, that's great. 2 more questions, Avon. This has all been great. Our guys are going to love this. Talk about your best memories in Morgantown, right? Your college experience. I know you've had a lot, right? Because you played at a high level for a long time, went to a lot of bowl games, got a lot of rings. But like, talk about your experience in Morgantown, and like when you think of your college experience, like what always draws your attention, right? Is it one game? Is it a championship? Is it a bowl game? Is it your teammates, the locker room? What is the best memory in Morgantown for you?
Games are good, bowl games are great, but what really draws me is when you're in that locker room, you're sitting in the hall, you're sitting in your row. So it's different now. So we had that back row, and you walk to that back row, you're gonna get roasted, and then and now it's like you got to be quick, you got to roast them back. That's what I miss. I miss, or what sticks out to me the most is, the relationships, the friendships that I made. You went to another team. Scotty McBean, you call me, it is on site. Like whatever. Like it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like just say less. Whatever you need. You know what I mean? And that's what the biggest is, building those relationships. And I really wish I would have did more. Not just in college, because I think you're around somebody so long, you kind of you automatically you have to do it. But like when I went to the pros, I didn't really build those relationships because it was so business. It wasn't
transactional.
It was so transactional. You know what I mean? So so just being around, you, Angel, Grant, those guys that I could just be like, hey, which is Angel's birthday, Ham's birthday. They don't know Ham, but Ham left after you. But Ham, his birthday is today. Angel's birthday was yesterday. Grant Wiley's, I think his birthday was the 11th. Those type of things, man. That's important. And the reason why I say that is, as a player, one of the greatest things for me to have done or to do for a coach is to pour the Gatorade over the coach. Yes. To say, hey, coach, great job. You deserve it. Well done. Have that done. And for me, it wasn't the record. It was what happened after the record. My teammates appreciated it. I broke the record at WVU, and my teammates threw the Gatorade on me. That was just a feeling of accomplishment. And, having the fans come on the field and carry me up and for me, that's kind of one of my greatest moments is my teammates recognize. It wasn't just the fans or just the media. It was my teammates, throwing Gatorade on me, saying, congratulations, Avon, you worked hard for it.
It's a big accomplishment.
That was it for me, man. That was it.
Like it all pays off, right? I mean, that's a benchmark that you hit that, and when your teammates acknowledge that, that's big time.
That opens you up, man. That's like, that lets you know that, hey, people appreciate it.
Yes. Finally, and this is a heavy loaded question, right? But if you could go back, and it's really telling our guys a piece of advice, right? Now, remember, all of our guys are in high school. They're all going through it, right? They're in the meat of their high school careers. They're sophomores, they're juniors, right? Or they're getting ready to enter their senior year. If you had to go back and talk to a young Avon, right? You're getting ready to enter that high school career, right? And you know what your goals are. What piece of advice, or give me one little tip that you can give our guys of like, hey, man, you guys are fighting hard. You're navigating through your journey. It ain't easy, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. But if I could go back again, here's what I would focus on, right? Or here's what I would try to do better. Give me a piece of advice that you can give to our guys.
McBean, that's crazy, because you know what? I have no regrets. I have none. I have none. And the reason why I have none is because I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
Like, I worked my ass off. When I was in high school, I was the best player on the team. But my coach always told me, everybody has an envelope, Avon. Some people's envelope is really thin. Some people's envelope is pretty thick. The thicker your envelope is, the more money you got to put in it every day.
Yeah.
And that right there, I mean, for me, that was probably focus on filling your envelope every day. And I did it. So football wise, I have no regrets. I don't wish I would have did anything different, because I mean, the only thing I wish I would have did different is not tore my ACL in high school.
Sure,
because
I had can't control that.
Yeah, I had some big goals my senior year. I wanted 50 touchdowns, 2,000 yards rushing. But the one thing I would say is I mean, you guys have a goal, and as long as you keep that goal, and that's the one thing you should focus on. Focus on that goal every single day. Every day I thought about, I put up on my wall, and I think everybody do it, but truly focus on what that is, like what that means, like what it's going to take for you to accomplish that goal. And that's your envelope, because if I'm talking to you right now, you with McBeasy, your envelope is pretty full. He's not, and it is what it is. Eagles don't play with pigeons. So you're an eagle if you're dealing with McBrien. We call McBeasy. If you're with McBeasy right now, your envelope is pretty thick. Make sure you fill that envelope up daily with good habits, good actions, making sure don't be that guy because you already that guy. Don't be that guy that that finds themselves in a situation where you ruin your entire career over a mistake that
right.
you wasn't focused on your goal. So make sure, every day with my son, I tell him, man, we Lord, please guide him to make right decisions so that they only align to what he is ultimately wanting to do in the
That's
long
right.
term.
That's
So,
right.
so focus on them goals, man.
Well, look, you had a great run, Avon, and are you in the Hall of Fame at West Virginia?
I am.
I was going to say, because if not, you need to be there. You deserve
Yeah.
it. You're the face of that program. And selfishly, I said this before the call, I hope you get back to Morgantown and your faces around there, because that program needs you, and you make that place a better place. So
I appreciate you, brother.
Just
I
want to
appreciate
let you know I was lucky and fortunate enough to play with you. Shoot, you're an all-time running back, and you always will be. And you're my brother, so I appreciate you hopping on this call. And our guys are going to look up to you, man. They think the world of you. They look up to guys like you, and the knowledge that you drop, man, goes a long way. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
you, my man.
I'm glad I was able to do it, man. And McBeasy, I appreciate you, bro. I love what you're doing, because I was one of some of those kids. I know not all of them have that issue, but when you write a check for people, that could ultimately been me. And I thank you for what you're doing, man, because it's gonna give a kid that don't actually have access the access, man. So what you're doing is fantastic, man. And I appreciate you for the work that you're doing.